Hey, it's me, OGDuffy, and welcome to the latest Versus video. Now, this video is a special one for my man, Comic Boss 1. Now, he's been suffering a little bit, and he comments on the videos, and he watches all the videos all the time, and he's a great lad, always gives his input, and he's been suffering a bit with the old long COVID and all that, and he ain't been too well. So, blessings to you, my friend. This is to your good health, buddy. Now, onwards and upwards, my friend. You suggested Afterburner. Now, Afterburner, for those that know, is a Sega classic arcade game. But, of course, via the thumbnail of this video, you know we're not doing Afterburner. But this one's dedicated to you anyway, buddy. Hope you get well soon. So all the best to Comic Boss 1. So, we're looking at, not Afterburner, no. We are looking at the other one. Yes, Space Harrier. Now, as you know, this came out on the arcade. It was on a hydraulic machine. It moved in 4 directions, all that sort of stuff. But before we get into this, a confession from myself, and it is this. I am not a huge fan of this game.
I beg your pardon?
Go on, go ahead, slate me. Give me what for in the comments and all that. But I thought, personally, I always thought this was a bit of a novelty game at the arcades. I didn't think it was majorly brilliantly playable. I mean, if I had a choice of playing Space Harrier or playing Nemesis or Gradius, I would have chose Nemesis or Gradius. But that's just a personal choice, alright? So don't be hating on me for that, alright? But do let me know in the comments your memories of Space Harrier and if I've got this wrong. So anyway, this week, as always, we're going back a bit here and we're looking at the ZX Spectrum version, the Amstrad CPC, and the Commodore 64. And then we're going to take a look at 2 16-bit computer versions, and they are the Atari ST and the Commodore Amiga. And after that, we could look at further console systems and handhelds, etc., because there are an awful lot of these out for this, okay? But I'm going to save that for another video for another day, because it takes a lot of work to get all these done. So anyway, onwards and upwards. As always, let's take a look at the arcade version. Here we go. 1985, Sega and Space Harrier. Yu Suzuki released this for Sega. He'd previously done Hang On, which was the motorbike game where you had to sort of, use your weight to do the corners and all that sort of stuff, which was pretty good at the time, I remember that. Now, this game was on hydraulics, which was pretty new and awesome and refreshing, and people really bought into this. Personally, as I said earlier, I was not a huge fan of this game. I just felt that the hydraulic system was a way of getting you to play something that I don't personally think was a great shooter. As I always said, I prefer a 2D shooter. I mean, give me, your R-types, your Gradiuses, your Nemesis, all that sort of thing. I'd much prefer them. But, it's just my opinion, so don't be hating on me for that. But anyway, this was it. So this was it on the arcade. It was it. Graphically and everything, it was very good, but I just preferred the 3D racing games by Sega. I just think they were better, personally. But hey, as I said, that's just my opinion. Now we're taking a look at the first of the 8-bit systems. This was the Amstrad CPC version, and as you can see, to get this to run at a decent pace and speed, they used sort of vector graphics, and as you can see there, the trees and the enemies and the shots and that sort of stuff, there was no solidness to it, and I felt that this was it was a good idea because it got the game running at a decent speed, but it just made it unplayable because, like the trees for example, where they were so sepia, you try to fly through them more than round them, whilst if it had been as like a solid lump, I think you would have tried to avoid them. So, I mean, the colours were good, don't get me wrong, in an Amstrad CPC kind of way, and but what this version did do very well was the soundtrack. Let me give that a little listen now. That was good. It was a very good effort on the soundtrack front. But as I say, I just felt that this wasn't the most playable version that we've looked at, because of the sort of them see-through graphics. But I can understand why it was done. Hey, do you guys remember? As I always say, you guys, your knowledge is far superior to mine. So let me know in the comments. Did you like the Amstrad version? Could you get along with it, or did you agree with me? Do you think it was a bit too, a bit too see-through, so to speak, a bit too sepia, shall we say? But as always, let me know in the comments. The next 8-bit system is Space Harrier. At the very start there, it looked like he was on a tricycle to me, pedalling along, bless him. Now, as I'm sure many of you are going to tell me, there was 2 releases of this in the UK and I assume Europe. We had the rushed version by Elite, and it was apparently rushed out, so the story goes, to get it out in time for Christmas, which made the title pretty much unfinished, which was a real shame. And in the States, it was a Sega released, again by the same programmer, I've been led to believe, but he was given more time to get it done and completed. Now, this rushing of getting games rushed out in the UK seemed to be quite a common occurrence, especially on the 8-bit systems during this era of gaming. But hey, as always, someone out there will know and let me know, please, in the comments. This is becoming a common occurrence, I think. Anyway, but as you can hear, the sound was good. I liked the soundtrack in particular, but I don't know, it just missed something for me. And the version we're looking at here is the Elite version of the version that was rushed through, so to speak. So that there shows the Commodore 64. Graphics are solid, which made a change to the vector graphics of the Amstrad version. But shame, rushed through. We had to get sloppy seconds on this compared to the US version, which was a real shame. So the ZX Spectrum version to conclude the last of the 8-bit systems. Now, as you can see, I was really surprised by this, I have to say. You know, this is the 48K version. I don't know if this was out on the 128 or not. I don't believe it was, but someone will correct me if I'm wrong. Obviously, the first thing you notice, there is no soundtrack to this. It's just the basic sort of bleepy sound effects from the Specky. But hey, I don't think that's a bad thing looking at this. I mean, for 48K, I think the way they made this 3D with that checkered floor scroll and look the way it did, I think they did very well. It played, I think, at a good speed. It wasn't ridiculously fast, and it really did surprise me. So I think a hats off here to the Spectrum and the guys that programmed this, because I mean, to take 48K and to get a free, well, to even attempt a 3D shooter with 48K Specky was something in its own right, and to actually try and pull it off, well, very good indeed. So I was quite surprised by this, and I mean, and when the end of level dragon appears, which is coming up any moment now, you'll see. I think it handled it very well. Here he comes. So there's the end of level boss from level 1, what we've looked at all throughout. So there you go, Specky. Very well done. Good effort. And the first of the 16-bit systems, we're looking at the Commodore Amiga. Now this was playable via the mouse on the Amiga, and the loading times between each level apparently was pretty horrendous. How true that is, someone here will know. Did you originally own this on your Amiga and ST back in the day? If so, were the loading times pretty horrendous? Do let me know. Now, as you can see, yeah, I think graphically it looks pretty good. There was an auto fire option as well on the mouse for this. If you held the mouse button down, you could auto fire, which would have been quite useful. Just saved your little finger from aching there and future pains and gripes, etc. But overall, looks quite good. They had a bit of sampled speech going on as well, but for some reason they re-recorded the speech. They didn't take the original speech samples. Don't know why. Hey, someone out there will. But as you can see, here's the end of level boss from level 1. And I think this played quite well. I mean, it looks alright, it's not too bad at all. So there you go, that is the Commodore Amiga. We're going to take a look next at the Atari ST. And as always, folks, if you owned this on any of the systems we looked at, do let me know in the comments your memories, your thoughts. I've already, confessed my sins. I was not a huge fan of this game, so... But do let me know, am I wrong to say the things I'm saying? Let me know. Let's have a nice, healthy debate as always. So, that concludes the Commodore Amiga even. Let's go take a look at the ST next. So we go, the Atari ST. All of these conversions were done in the UK and I'm assuming again Europe by Elite Software. Now, as you can see, the big difference between this one and the Amiga is it had like these extra sort of sidebar down the side there for Space Harrier, thus making the play screen slightly smaller than the Amiga version. Don't know about you guys, but just looking at this, I personally felt that the Amiga version looked a bit better. Hey, let me know in the comments, am I right to say that? Again, it was played with the mouse, and I think it had loading issues. I do believe it took a while to load between levels also. But again, as I said, not being a huge fan of these games back in the day, I didn't own it on any of the original systems. I remember seeing it in the arcade and playing it in the arcade, purely for the novelty fact really. I think they've been thrown about a bit by the hydraulic system. But again, it was a very well received game, so that's just my personal verdict. But as always, do let me know in the comments all your stories, your memories of this game, and here comes the end of level boss. And as I say, when it comes to comparisons against the ST and the Amiga, they're usually quite close, but there's usually little things in it that just swing it either way. So anyway, that concludes the last of the 16-bit systems. Without further ado, let's head on over and get my all-important verdicts. So that concludes all the versions there of this game, okay? As I said, and I declared right from the start, I was not a huge fan of this at the arcade.
Unbelievable.
Personally, I thought it was a bit of a novelty game over the other shooters, and give me a 2D shooter any day of the week. But that's just my opinion. But anyway, I played it on all three systems. Look at the 8-bits first, of course, the home systems. And here we go. This is my order of things. Now, as always, let me know in the comments if you agree, if you disagree, your memories as well. It's important, and facts and stuff like that you have about these games, because your knowledge is far superior to mine. Honestly, you know so much stuff, so please do share that with everyone in the comments. And also, if you don't already subscribe, then please do so. Good, that message is out of the way. Let's move on. So, out the 8-bit systems, in third position, it goes to the Amstrad CPC. Now, I'll be honest, I thought the Amstrad did fair with this. The vector graphic thing was going on, and I think the end of level bosses and all that, they were a bit, I don't know. It sort of lost something for me when the boss come along, you know what I mean? But, all in all, I thought it played quite fast, and they kept the speed up. So, a great bit of programming there. So, a respect is due. Well done. And in second position, it goes to the Commodore 64, which means that the Spectrum wins it. But before we go on about the Spectrum, let me explain why I've put the Commodore 64 in second, alright? The C64 was a brilliant, brilliant version, and it played really well. It done everything brilliantly. Now, those in the know will know that there were two versions of this. You had the American version, which was produced by Sega, I believe, or released by Sega in America. And you had the version by Elite in this country, over here in the UK, and I assume the EU. But you guys know, let me know in the comments. And unfortunately, it wasn't as good as the Sega release. Now, what I've heard, the reasoning behind that is because it was a bit of a rush job by Elite to get it out in time for Christmas. Is that the case? You guys know? Let me know. And the Spectrum. Okay, so I'll give it to the Spectrum. Now, well done, Spectrum. First off, great shout. But I gave it to the Spectrum because for 48k, I think the engineering and the programming that went in this was brilliant. I mean, the use of the checkerboard on the floor there really made it feel in depth and 3D, and it was just so well done. So I suppose I'm giving this verdict to the Spectrum based on the programming skills of the guys that did it. So well done to the Spectrum. I'm sure there'll be a lot of debate in the comments. And again, I look forward to hearing everyone's comments and thoughts on this. So thank you very much. Now we go to the 16-bit systems. So, close call. It's always really close between the ST and the Amiga. I'm giving it to the Amiga. And I'll tell you why, as always. To me, it just looked slightly better than the ST version, okay? I mean, if we have a look at the two comparisons there, there's the ST, there's the Amiga. To me, the Amiga just looked that bit better, okay? But again, this was a very close call between the pair of them, as it always seems to be with Atari ST and Amiga. But again, if you agree or disagree, let me know in the comments. So anyway, folks, I'd like to thank you all for watching, as always. As you know, I've got some other videos coming out, so keep your eyes on the channel, because got some good stuff, good content ready to be released. So I'm going to start releasing them out to you, okay? Game hunting and all that sort of stuff. And I've also got a new sub-series coming out.
Something new.
Yes, a sub-series is being released very, very soon. And you guys will give your input in that directly, I know. So, onwards and outwards. Something like that. This is to you guys, and especially to my man, Comic Boss 1. Feel better soon, my friend. Cheers. So I've been OGDuffy. That's it for another Versus. And I'm out. If you watch the video and you like what you see, don't forget to subscribe for more great videos. Thanks for watching.